neutral corner, your host, the undefeated world's heavyweight champion, Rocky Marciano, sparring with the voice that has made millions of fans, the master of song, the king himself, Nat King Cole.
And my guest, a man who I know needs no introduction, the king himself, Nat King Cole.
Thanks, Rock. How you feel?
Just fine.
Say, look here. What about this picture up here with you and Eisenhower?
Yeah, that's got a funny story to it, Nate. Joe DiMaggio was a big celebrity in my neighborhood. He was the biggest thing that ever hit baseball, you know, and I didn't realize it until this picture was taken, though. I had just won the title and was invited down to visit with the president, along with 50 other athletes who were making the news at the time. And the president didn't get a chance to see the boys in their particular field, so he invited us down to have lunch. Great big moment in my life. In the process, this picture was taken. DiMaggio was right aside of the president, myself. And when I went back home to Brockton, Mass., I very proudly walked into my neighborhood club. I had just come back being with the president, walk into the clubhouse, and one old Italian guy kind of brushed his mustache and says, Marciano thinks he's a big shot now. Just had his picture taken with DiMaggio.
Oh, you forgot all about that other fellow in the middle, huh?
That's right.
Yeah, that's a pretty wild-looking tie you have on there, too.
Yeah, uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
And Nate, I was lucky enough to catch you one night in California. My bride and I walked in at the Hollywood Bowl, and a strange thing happened. We come in there, and there must have been 20,000, 30,000 people watching the great king come on the stage, and a big hush fell over the whole stadium. I mean, you could hear a pin drop, and it's remarkable because in boxing, we realize how good we are by the noise the fans make.
Yeah, it is funny how that is on the opposition there, because as a fighter approaches the ring, you know, the whole thing is going. But you see, in our particular business, the quieter the audience is at a particular time that we are performing, it is what you say, a great tribute to an artist. And sometimes they can get too quiet, though. You know, sometimes I wonder whether they're out there, you know. But I can see the contrast because particular place like the Hollywood Bowl, which is a very lovely place, I play there every year, and I enjoy it very much.
I bet you do. I felt I had goose pimples when I saw all these people just quieting down, and the king come on and just knew what to do and how to take over, but they made a lot of noise when you were all through.
But you know, the only thing about the Hollywood Bowl, you know, out there on the stage, I feel like a picture postcard. You know?
Did you ever want to be a fighter?
No, but I tell you what, I tried it a couple of times.
Did you?
When I was a kid, I used to practice around with my cousin, you know. He used to be a little amateur fighting at times around a little place in Chicago called the Savoy Ballroom. And I used to train with him until he'd hit me pretty hard, and then all of a sudden I'd hit him and knock him down. You know, I ended up being the best fighter of the group. But actually, no, but I tell you what, I became so interested in fighting that just recently, a couple of months ago, I signed up a fighter.
You did?
Yes, a boy by the name of Gene Johns. Nice-looking kid. And Harry Wiley is the race trainer.
Yeah.
You know him.
Very good.
Well,
man.
Harry's the one that discovered the kid, and he's been training him, and Harry brought him to me, and so we went down to the commissioner's office and signed him up.
Hey, that's great. You know, I'm going to keep my eye on this kid now, and...
You may see me in the corner any day on television with my sweat on.
If he ever gets to fight for the title, will you sing the Star Spangled Banner for him?
Oh, yes, if I can remember the words that night.
That'll be great, having the king sing the Star Spangled Banner for the championship.
I did sing the Star Spangled Banner in the World Series in Chicago when the White Sox were playing the Dodgers. And, I was belting this song out pretty good. And when I walked back up to the press box after it was over, the guy said, "Oh, you did a wonderful job." And one guy in the press box said, "You know, you sang the wrong word." And I said, "What was it?" He said, "You say, oh, the land, oh, the, instead of saying, oh, the land and of the free, I say on the land and the sea." And they put it on the teletype, and this thing started going all over the country, and so I was a little frustrated about it because I rehearsed this thing right down to the last wire. But the night of the night, if my fighter ever gets into a championship fight, I don't think I'll be able to sing that night.
You'll be too excited. There's the bell for the main event. This is one we've all been waiting for. The main event. Vince Martinez, Chico Villa. Here's a kid, Vince Martinez, had all the potentials of being a champion. He was at his best, and because he had the ring-wise experience, he was able to beat a better fighter.
Well, that's your business.
Nat, you're there. You're one of the most main eventers.
Well, Rocky, I will take this and hang it up in my den.
Great.
Thank you.
You bet. I am fortunate enough to have with me a guy that I've gotten to know quite well. I've been at his home. I've been with him at restaurants, and I know all about him. I'd like to tell you all the stories, but I couldn't. Mr. Wonderful himself, Jimmy Durante.
In person.
And Sonny King, a young fellow I knew a long time ago when I first started up.
And one time you put me in a ring with you. You said, train because you wanted to fight Walcott. I fought left-handed, and you missed me and put me in the hospital.
What'd you expect when you went in the ring with him? Huh? Lasagna?
Tell him about your friend.
You know, I was born on the east side of New York. You know, Catherine and Cherry Street. And on the corner was a saloon called George Horn's. I was just a youngster. I don't know how old I was. But they had a kid come down there, and they wanted to try this kid out. And I don't know why they picked on me. So I went up there, and the fight started, and I'm fencing, and this kid's manager stood on the sidelines there, and he, come on there, hit him on the beak, hit him on the beak. I turned around to see who was hollering, and he hit me on the jaw, and that was the last of my fighting career. What do you got over here?
Jim, we got something we thought, you know, we want to make you comfortable. You coming over to see me, so this ain't comfortable for you, is it?
Well, you want to sit over there?
Let's do that.
Well, let's sit over there. Say, Rocky, what fight are you showing now?
Yeah, I want to show you the Bob Satterfield, Rex Lane fight.
Satterfield?
You remember him?
So help me. He's my favorite.
Oh, really?
A great, great fighter. I thought he'd be a champion.
He had the punch, Jim.
Boy, he could really hit.
Consider
and you know, I knew him well.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you know his favorite number? His favorite song was a song I wrote, and it's published by my own firm, and it went like this. I'll never forget it. Every time before a fight, I'd see him, and I'd have to play this number for him. Chitty-bitty, 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 bitty-bitty, bitty-bitty. Yeah. And he used to love this number. And every time I used to play this number before a fight, he'd win.
No.
Is this the Rex Lane fight?
This is the Rex Lane fight.
That's the fight I didn't play for him, and he got knocked out.
He got
Am I
knocked out. This is right.
Huh?
Right, Jim.
Didn't want to send the plane fare.
No. If you ever fight again, I'll guarantee you're going to win if you learn this. Chitty-bitty, chitty-bitty, bitty-bitty, bitty-bitty, bitty-bitty. Yeah. Boy, tell me.
I like it already.
How you missed the spaghetti, huh? Say, tell me something. This fight here, you fought Rex later, didn't you? On account of that fight, he got a fight with you.
He looked so good in this fight, Jim, that he was the #1 contender, see? And they said, Marciano has to get by this man, or they figured the winner of the Rex Lane-Marciano fight would get a chance at the championship fight. So we were scheduled to fight, and we did fight.
He was a rough customer.
He was rough.
The way I heard it later from one of his, I think it was his manager or somebody, he said he feinted with his right, he feints with his left, he saw an opening, and he was flat on his back. Huh?
I like the one Jimmy says, I put his chips on my shoulder, and I told him to knock it off. The chip was still there, the whole shoulder was gone. I like that one very much. There's the bell for the main event, Rex Lane versus Bob Satterfield. Jim, in my profession, this is what they call a war. What do you think of it so far?
Well, I'm not fond of blood.
Are you sure these two guys ain't mad at each other?
They sure are, Sonny. They want to win. Jim, I was there the night that Satterfield fought Rex Lane, and it was the most sensational win that a new young fellow ever had. This kid from the Midwest came in, an underdog, took Satterfield's best punch, which usually knocked the guy dead, got up from this knockdown and knocked Satterfield out. He was considered right there and then as probably the next heavyweight champion of the world. And then I had to face him.
Well, you know something, Rock? No wonder he got knocked out. He didn't sing my tune.
That's right, too. Jimmy, if I could coin a phrase, I'd call you the most main eventer.
Thank you, Rock. Another item for my memoirs.
And my guest, a fellow that started out in the fight game, really, knows the fight game, likes it, and knows more about me than all of our other guests, George Raft.
Rocky, may I say this is indeed a great pleasure to be sitting here with you. In fact, I'd much rather be sitting here with you than being in the ring with you at one time.
George, I'll never forget the first trip to California. Met you at the airport, and you showed me all around the studios. I met all of the actors with you, and really it was one of the big thrills of my life.
Yeah, but what happened to all the actors I knew?
I remember walking through the studio, George, and really they were still very much your big fans there. I remember we went to the old dressing room, and all of the people on the studio. There's Mr. Raft. Hi, Mr. Raft. It was really something to see.
Well, what happened to Mr. Raft?
Doing all right.
Doing all right. Getting a little older, but I like to grow old gracefully like you are. You look wonderful, and it was a pleasure to see you today. And, of course, I'll never forget there was a fight in the Polo Grounds at the Yankee Stadium. I don't remember what stadium it was, and you were fighting a fellow by the name of Matthews. So I says, well, gee, I got to go up to see Rocky Marciano, right away. So I'll never forget, I think you hit him with a left hook. He had his hand here, and you hit him with a left hook, and it hit him here, and it knocked him out.
Judge, that was one of the fights I like to remember because up until that fight, I hadn't knocked out too many guys with the left hand. It was all right.
Well, it was really beautiful because then I was your biggest booster, of course. Joe Louis, who was a great, great fighter, was a friend of mine, and I went up to see him fight in San Francisco and tried to ask him to stop. And he said he was going to fight you in the Madison Square Garden. I says, don't fight this fella. He says, oh, Joe, I says, please don't fight this fella. Well, I listened to it on the radio, and then finally I took peeks of it on the television, and I know you hit him with one right hand. And I says, this is it. I turned the television off, and I went to the baseball game.
George, I understand I'm going to do your life story.
That's right, Rock. Ray Danton is going to play the lead.
Shucks, I thought maybe them, might be. You think there's a chance that I might be able to...
Well, Rock, why don't you stand up and I'll sort of give you a little audition. Rock, on the screen is a lot of trick fights. You do this, then you turn around. Now, you put your hands on me this way. Now, I do that, and I hit. Now, what you try to do is try to hit me with a left hand. See? That's right. Now, I go this way.
Oh! Did I do that right, George?
Yes, you did it perfect. You took it beautifully.
George, you stick to your racket, and I'll stick to my sport. There's the bell for the main event. 2 top light heavyweights. Tony Anthony, a puncher. Yvonne Durrell, rugged. George, what do you think of the fight so far?
Rocky, I think it's a great fight, but the only thing that I see about Anthony, when he throws that left jab, he doesn't move his chin with it.
You are so right, George, but take it easy. There's a lot of fight left. George, Anthony looked real great this night. He was the best thing in the ring. It's too bad he didn't look that good when he fought Archie Moore a little while later.
Well, Rocky, I saw that fight with Archie Moore, and I was down watching him training, and just as I predicted before, that he would always throw that left jab and never move his head. Moore got him up against the ropes, and he tried to throw that left jab, and he hit him with the left hook, and that was the end of Anthony.
So right, George. That was his big mistake. In fact, it was right after the Moore fight that he retired, and today a young fella, just a young kid, a veteran of boxing, retired and not doing very much, so I understand.
And he would look like a great, great fighter, great prospect.
George, you've been a main eventer for years. You know you have to keep punching to stay up there. This pair of golden gloves are my little reminder to everyone to continue to keep punching.
Rocky, I will treasure this. To me, this is just like winning the Academy Award from you.
Thank you, George, very much.
Thank you.
The bigger they are, the nicer they are. And you can make it as easy as they did. Just remember, keep your left hand high, chin down, and keep punching.